moon in Capricorn. I'm so excited today to be getting into and breaking down this upcoming full moon happening on July 3rd of 2023. What makes this full moon so special? Why are we having this live stream? Why are we sitting here to talk about and discuss the full moon? Well, one of the most critical keys to this full moon is that it's going to be a full moon in the earth. And what do full moons do? They release. They end up having us change the course of direction based on what no longer serves us in our lives. Think of the full moon as a time frame where literally things just get renewed, get washed away, specifically in the area of life that the full moon is in for you and your birth chart. If you want to know more about your birth chart or to figure out the in-betweens and the depth of your personal power and how the stars interact with you, always feel free to get a birth chart reading with yours truly, because I really love transforming and showing people the aspects of their personal power that maybe they've known but haven't been able to put together. Astrology is the best tool in my personal opinion because it's one of the most oldest sciences in the book to bring all that together in the first place. So now, letting a few people in. So after this preamble, I really do want to use this time with you all today to remind you how great you are, to remind you that out of the millions of possibilities of people being here on this planet, you were chosen to. And I think sometimes people get so caught up in the hype of what's going on around them, and they get so caught up in the hype of, oh man, everything's going so fast. I know I fall to this too sometimes. And one of the most important things about it is that the things that we perceive on a day-to-day basis is such a small fraction of what's actually going on in the world, which on one end, more overwhelming, but on the other end, there are so many people taking so many different avenues to find what works right for them. The full moon in Capricorn during Cancer season, this is the axis of the water of Cancer, really finding the emotional understanding and the emotional undertones of everything. Also accessing and tapping in to your intuitive nature. And Capricorn being Earth is like, hey, what do we have to show for? What do we have to see? How you doing, fam? I see you down there. I am talented. But the idea of it is to slowly start to build on the things that you know that you can do, right? This energy as a full moon in Capricorn reminds me of a difference between two different types of people. Everyone, for the most part, has been to high school, at least a little bit of it, to see what's going on. What this Cancer and Capricorn axis reminds me of is that in high school, there were two athletes. There was the person that someone's like, hey, you have so much raw, natural talent. I just know you're going to make it to the league. And then there was that kid that might have sucked, or maybe they were on the bench and they were like, man, I literally don't know what it takes to be number one. And so the number one guy gets all the accolades. He gets all the love. He gets all the, oh, wow, look how great they're doing. Meanwhile, the dude that's in the back has been working every day. After practice is over, that one kid is staying at the practice, putting in extra reps after everyone goes home. When everyone's slowly lollygagging, and when everyone's slowly getting into the, use basketball, when everyone's heading to the court, and they're like, hey, you know, we're just having a good time, we're joking, we're just coming off eating some food, talking to some girls, haha. And that one kid was there 2 hours before to start warming up, to start stretching, to put up some shots. When you start to take that raw, natural talent and you think that that's the thing that's going to carry you, the full moon in Capricorn is reminding you that that's not going to make it work. The person who was working that little bit diligent every day, even though they sucked at first, let's say that person was the star in the high school team. But now when it gets to the college time and college talk, that kid that kept working gets into the college team. That college team recognizes Capricorn, that effort that was put in to get better. And they're like, you want to know what? Come on to the starting five. And that kid keeps that same work ethic. The other one doesn't do anything else about it. Who's going to get further? The natural talent or the person who worked natural talent out of the water? Literally. The full moon in Capricorn is trying to show you that if you put in the work when it comes to anything that you do, you're going to actually achieve massive results from it. And it's so easy to get caught up in the jargon of manifestation, of all of this, right? When manifestation is what happens when you understand your magic, can hold your magic in real time, step into any space at hand and make something happen. People get so caught up, oh, manifestation, I can just dream it. Like, no, if you don't put in the structure for your dreams to happen, they're not going to come through. If you don't put the, hey, I'm going to put in a little bit of this every day, that's not going to happen. That's why people, when they do ritual, when they actually do like full moon releases, such like that, if you end up doing that consistently, you're going to heed results. When you do it every once in a while, oh, that kind of worked. And this goes with everything. Like, everything takes time. And because the full moon in Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the taskmaster, the planet of time, which I'm finding a brand new relationship with as I keep learning new things. But this is what is making for you to become what you want to become. Because people can only choose to do the work or not do the work. You can be excellent as tarot. Do you pull tarot every day? And if it's not every day, do you pull a tarot every other 2 days? Because there's somebody who sucks who's going to be working harder than you. So what the full moon of Capricorn is trying to remind you is that if you're good, show and prove that and make it practice. Make it a practice, right? If you look at my videos, like, this is a personal note, right? You look at my videos from a couple years ago, I have the same type of like messages. I have the same kind of communication that I'm bringing to the table. But the difference is over time, you can gradually see, oh, those graphics got a little better. Oh, this thing got a little better this time. Even from a day-to-day basis, when I started taking it way more seriously about the presentation, oh, this got a little bit better, right? And shout out to the day ones who have been watching from the jump when I was just like literally in the crib that I grew up in, just in this like little room with like a little tiny light, trying to like do stuff. And what's funny is that it's taken me from then until now to fully say I'm an astrologer with my whole chest. And then stepping into the realm and seeing other astrologers who have been doing it for years longer gets me, one, excited, but two, it goes to show that it's like what you, and think about it like this, right? I'm talking about this on an astrological language, right? For most people, astrology didn't exist or wasn't even a real thing until after like 2017. So all that time in between, like, you know, this is something that for a lot of people isn't something that resonates with them. And it's not because it doesn't resonate with them, it's because they don't actually know how it works. And so when you see something in what you do or what you love, and there's something missing in that, you're supposed to fill in that space. And it's not that you're supposed to do it overnight, right? One of my most favorite quotes for this full moon in Capricorn is that it takes you an entire lifetime to become an overnight success. People don't see the hours that you put into the thing, but we're in such an instant gratification culture that it's like, man, but I put in that work. Why isn't everyone praising this? Meanwhile, there's people who aren't looking for that. Just put in the reps, just put in the time, And then by the time you do look up, you're like, wow, they got so lucky. Full moon in Capricorn is trying to remind you that it's your responsibility to bring the greatness out. And it's not complicated. It's not that you have to get up and do something out of the blue every day, but just those little tiny increments, that little 1%, that little bit of this, that like, oh, I want to eat better. Everyone says they want to eat better. Do you start to put in the steps of eating better, or are you think you're just gonna, oh, I think I'm just gonna, like, that doesn't happen for everyone. If you're that cool, if you're that nice with it, more power to you. As a matter of fact, please let me know more, right? But the idea is the concept of it. Hey, what's up? How you doing? But the concept of it, right, is that we really do enter into different stages of our life. And you can, I'll put it like this, right? Let's bring this back for a second. Hello, everybody. How's it going? As you can see, I'm very, very passionate about this full moon in Capricorn and really excited to get y'all the best of it, because there is a lot of like information and a lot of things here that I think really do need to be discussed. If you haven't signed up for my email list, please sign up for my email list afterward. I'm also going to be doing live readings on this live stream. So after this little quick preamble, I'm gonna get into the astrology. I wrote a couple things down that I definitely want to discuss, and then I'm gonna get into the card pulls for the signs. So much love to you all. Thank you all for being here in this process. But yeah, let's get it. And if you want to do the live stream, the link should be right in the description below. Stand Store, or it literally is chatthemaverick.com. It's just easier for your phone to click it straight to the Stand Store thing. So I have it in there like that, but yeah, okay, what's up? Definitely needed to hear that. I needed to say it. I need to listen to this back, to keep it honest with you. I be going off and I'm like, man, I think I said something. I look back and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But so you have to let spirit move through you. And that takes time. I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like everyone has their different rendition of that. But let's get into the astrology a wee bit, right? Let's really break down why is he saying all this stuff that he's saying to begin with. So as we can see, but as we can see here, right? This is the chart for the full moon in Capricorn. My head's only blocking out the South Node, which is about to change soon, but I'll be discussing that in a later video. So make sure that you subscribe and like this if you haven't already. But getting closer into this next stage of things, we see that the Sun and Mercury are over conjunct in Cancer, right? So the full moon is going to be opposite Mercury. And I wrote down, and when I wrote this part where it's like, put the money where your mouth is, right? Because it's one thing to be like, yo, I'm so great. I'm the best person at this. And it's like, okay, cool. What do you have to show for it? And when you're like, oh, well, like your ego can never outdo what you have done in reality. And the full moon in Capricorn is here to remind people of that. Does that mean you can't do those things? No, it means start to do those things, build credentials, do as much as you can of it. And then when you put in more reps than that guy with too much talent, now you're like, oh, shoot, here we go. This is something I'm going to be implementing in my own work. So I'm not trying to say this to like, oh, just put in the work. And I'm not saying this on a toxic hustle culture way either. So let me explain what I mean one more time before we hop back in the astrology, right? This isn't hustle culture in a sense of like, well, I got to get it all the time. One thing that I'm really starting to understand about Saturn, right? And what's important for this full moon in Capricorn. Saturn is the planet of time, and it expects you to work and be disciplined. But that also means that you will allot yourself the time to rest and recoup. That's why this opposition with the Sun in Cancer is being like, hey, what do you feel? Do you feel you need to rest? Or do you feel you have energy? That simple. You feel you have energy? Get the work done. You feel you need to rest? Take that deep rest. This is the differential of that full moon in Capricorn, and I hope that this instills this moving forward in your life as you start to chase your dreams. But genuinely speaking, people need that moment of time. And it's hard for us because of the way that the culture is, right? Today, I literally woke up to just see the Supreme Court apparently block out the student loan relief. They ended up taking away the affirmative action for the different colleges that actually help promote the diversity quota, bringing in different people of different races, ethnicities, etc. And then I believe they ended up also putting out a bill saying that different companies and I believe places of business can, and this don't, if I'm incorrect, please correct me in the comments. I want to be correct on this. I saw this briefly, but it reminded me of this Capricorn-ness, so I wanted to bring it up. But and then for the people who are LGBTQ plus, they ended up putting out or saying a legislation that they can be discriminated against in businesses. And wait, like just thinking about that, it's like all of that is wrong. Like the idea of like, oh, where's the relief? Where's this? Like Pluto went back into Capricorn. Pluto went back into Capricorn. It's like, yo, like this is, they're trying their best to almost re-show and reignite where it's like, yo, they don't care. Like capitalism literally is based off the idea that they don't care about you. You are a number. So instead of being a number or feeling like you're a number, you can set yourself apart by doing something that works intangibly with you and your soul's purpose and your soul's mission. That's why I love doing astrology. That's why I love doing readings for people, because some people are so close. And they're like, oh man, I work this corporate job. But it's like, yeah, but you literally worked on every skill that you need to succeed in what you want to do. And it's like, oh shoot. And these are the people I love to take on. I love to do, I have a few people who are doing the personal astrologer with me. So anyone who's really serious about doing the personal astrologer 5-week program with me, we're going to basically be crafting something very specific to your needs, tailored to your needs, from a beginner to intermediate to advanced. It doesn't matter. The concept is we're taking you, figuring out your end goal, and we're going to have 5 weeks of figuring out how to use your astrology to 1, teach you what's going on, 2, show you actual results, and 3, by the end of it, see how far we've gotten on an emotional, spiritual, and mental body level, just to kind of point that out. Anyway, back to the astrology. Like I said, this full moon of Capricorn really does have like a lot of like, I feel like this full moon of Capricorn is going to mean a lot for a lot of people. Hold up. Hey, what's good? I'm trying to, hold up. Tavia? I think it's Tavia. I have the little screen down here, but it's mad small. But hi, how's it going? Much love. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, so now let me get back to the astrology again. Let's talk about the two other planets that are really making noise, right? On this full moon in Capricorn, we have the opposition to Mercury, which is going to say, hey, put the money where your mouth is. Are you doing the things that you're claiming to do? Or basically even better, if you're that great, can you communicate how great you are? Can you show what you've done that other people have been great? Or even if you don't have the show for it right now, are you willing to put in the time and effort? So in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. And when I start saying this, if you start being like 2 years, 5 years, it takes approximately 5 years for any business to even start being profitable. Like statistically, it takes about 5 years for things to even start being profitable. You tried for 5 days. You manifested and try to be like, hey, it's going to happen in 5 weeks. Well, in my program, we help you out with that. Hey, nah, but for real, it's not just like oh, this is this, right? Or like, oh, I did this once and like, oh, it kind of worked. It's like the difference between someone who's a champion and someone who's just kind of going through the motions is that aspect, is that regard. Keep that in mind as well. Regardless, besides the Mercury point, the other point to really make out about this moon in Capricorn is that the moon in Capricorn is making a trine over to Jupiter and Taurus. So I really hope y'all go back after this live stream and listen back to everything that I said before, because that is exactly what I'm trying to aim for. If there's anything that I can nail on the head, is that we are literally in this time right now in the position that if you can get out of your own way, you can achieve that goal. It's probably going to take you 6 months, of consistent work to get that going, right? There are people who work with Hollywood trainers and they can get absolutely yoked in 6 months. Does it suck to do? Absolutely. Is it really, is it like, oh my gosh, I want to stop, I want to quit, like I'm so tired of this? Absolutely. Did you see how the world reacted when they saw Chris Hemsworth play Thor for the first time? Ridiculous. Everybody was like, wow, that guy looks like Thor. Probably took him 6 months, probably took him a year. But in that time frame, in that capacity, in that dedication of just knowing like, hey, the end result is going to be heated if I just follow through. There's not skipping steps. Like when people think astrology and like tarot, people think people are skipping steps. And you can't skip the steps, right? Unless you have crazy like Uranus placements, Neptune. But even then, you still have to work up to breaking the matrix moment. You still have to work to doing that one thing that's a little bit different. So there is a lot of differences in that prospect, you know? Do unprofitable stuff every day. We push through. It's funny because the concept of even like the profit part, right? And this is taking me like a while to learn because intrinsically I have that same thing. So when I'm coming to y'all explaining this is like real-time healing as well as just like seeing other things and trying to take in everything. So I really do see myself like with y'all in this process, but it's like, here's the stuff that I picked up. You know what I'm saying? Here's the stuff that I was reading that ended up kind of bridging this together. Here's how I viewed it on full moon in Capricorn. And I hope that helps your perspective. So when that energy starts to hit and you're like, I'm supposed to be great. You're like, oh shoot. I remember Mav was in there being like, yo, it's finna be like that. That's the reason why I do this live stream a couple days before the new moon. Before the full moon. So if someone else that don't even know I exist yet pops in, hello, please subscribe, much love. But if they do pop up, then they get to see something and find something and get something out of it. Or they just skip to the end where I do the card pulls. Either way, this is just to give people something. And when it's like, oh, what about the profit? It's like, are you giving something? Are you still doing the thing that you love? Are you still like making that happen? Because if you never seen a dollar of what's going on and you still do what you love, that's what's up. Yes, we live in a world where it sucks because it's like, oh no, but the money. And the sacrifice of that is it makes the differential. That's why when you listen to major celebrities, when you listen to people that are really rich and they're like, oh, how did you make it? They're like, yo, this was dumb hard. It was dumb hard. I worked every day. Then I eventually got lucky. That's what the full moon of Capricorn is trying to remind people. Every day, every bit here, every like seminar, I'm going to learn all I can here. Boom. And now you're in that situation. Now you're in that position. And I think one of the easiest ways for you to like get an advantage on that is learning your astrology chart. So you know exactly where to step in and pop in. So if you want to get a chart reading, please make sure that you do throughout the month of July. And sign up for my email list because I end up putting in special promotional stuff for the people that really support. So, and you get a free full hour moon class in the process of that. But to break one more time into this area of things, right? This technically, the moon is also, I'm gonna count it. The moon is also making a sextile to Saturn retrograde in Pisces, right? And so the sextile is like, you have the opportunity to put in the work. The reason why Saturn just went retrograde and Neptune just went retrograde today. So Saturn, hold on. This is actually important. Full moon in Capricorn, Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde. This is trying to force you to remember the reality of the situation. It's to remove whatever else is going on and for you to see what's right in front of you. You can make that thing grander. You can then add that spiritual wisdom to that. But it's like, yo, if you can really look and that's the reason why Capricorn or Saturn has like that sober or that sobriety archetype in that case, because it's just like, hey, if I can approach this from a raw level, what does this mean, right? We are literally just in this perfect position in between the The water and the earth, that's fertile ground. That's fertile soil. That's things that you can grow things on. That's things that you can like really make like pop off, right? This is just such a beautiful position to be in the process, because you're starting to see just how great you can be. Personally, I've been watching a lot of Muhammad Ali, right? And I do this often when I'm like just looking at a energy, or I'm just trying to figure something out. But I'll look at whoever I know off the top of my head. When I think Capricorn, my brain always goes to Muhammad Ali. Why? Capricorn rules greatness. What's one of Ali's biggest things? I am the greatest. And he can talk your head in circles. And he also always showed up. He also always did the thing. Muhammad Ali worked so freaking hard that he was able, while you were in between a fight in boxing, he was able to stop, tell you exactly what round he was going to knock you out in, tell you exactly how he was going to do it. And before he would do it, he would announce it to you, and then it was lights out. Do you know how much repetition, things that you have to do, the work you have to put in order to achieve that? Your guides are trying to lead you through. Your guides are trying to show you through this process. So let them do that. But don't be afraid when the work comes up, because it's usually in that nitty gritty, ugly earth sign having to deal with stuff, information that keeps us from feeling like we can achieve freedom and feeling like, oh no, what if I could be better? Because it's not like a magic remedy. Imposter syndrome exists in the most popular people that you know. But the only thing to remedy imposter syndrome is to actually put in the work. Is to actually write it down in that notebook. It's to actually show up to that gym you've been wanting to. It's to actually do that part and keep the space, Cancer season on the other side of things, to respect your emotions. How are you feeling? As a better action, how can you take how you're feeling and let it fuel you into your practice? People want real shit. To be honest, people want real. People want something that's in front of them. If you guys, y'all beautiful people, wasn't here, if y'all didn't like the real, you wouldn't be watching this right now. Just being honest, if you didn't want the actual like, hey, here's this, you would not be watching this right now. I appreciate you for being here in this process. But this is the type of thing that ends up happening. So to kind of double back, the last part about the astrology before I start getting into the readings and everything else, right? This full moon on July 3rd, right, is really going to show you what you're made of, what you can accomplish, and how much further you can go. And I guarantee you it's further than you think. Pace your time. Take your time, do what you have to do, and the rewards will be there. Saturn is not about instant gratification. Capricorn is not about instant gratification. Some Capricorns don't get into the millions and billions until they're in their like 40s, but then they never have to worry about it for the rest of their life. Would you rather get paid $1 million today or $1,000? Matter of fact, that's actually a good point, right? The full moon in Capricorn is trying to show you, would you rather get $1 million today in cash that you can use, or would you rather get $1,000 every week for the rest of your life? If you don't know what's going on, you might just be like, oh, there's $1 million. If you actually understand, oh shoot, if I waited on that 1,000, I'd be making way more. Reality, Earth is built on time. Despite us saying time don't exist, we are on this planet. Time exists for us. Like, we have to do that. When we get into our spiritual moments, we can transcend the feeling of time. The feeling of time, dare I say, right? We can transcend the illusion of time, if that's the case. But realistically, my Capricorn placements are popping today. I ain't gonna lie. This is what it takes. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be comfortable saying I'm an astrologer until I've done 1,000 readings. I wasn't comfortable with saying I was like fully astrologer until I've done over 100 readings without my face, without knowing who the person was going to be for, without knowing anything except for their name, their birth time, their birthplace. That was it. And it wasn't until I got feedback on that, being like, yo, you had literally nothing to go off of. How did you do this? That I was like, yo, I can definitely keep this going. Not to say you have to do that. I'm kind of extreme with that, but this is the kind of thing where you find that part of yourself. I'm a triple fire sign. So I'm like, here it is, right? Maybe you're a water sign. Oh, how can I figure out how to feel good enough to get all these things done, right? Maybe you're an air sign. How many people can I talk to before eventually someone's like, word, right? Or maybe you're an earth sign and you're like, man, maybe I should do the right thing and be stubborn about it, because that's what breeds results. Yeah, this is a full moon in Capricorn live stream for sure. For sure. Cannot spiritually bypass what's in front of you. But you can work with spirit, with the universe, with the reality, through the breath, through what's in front of you, to make exactly the world that you want happen around you. Whew. How y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing good today. I'm an astrologer. We out here. Okay, cool. All right. So, sidebar. I do have the tipping thing still going on. I haven't checked yet, see if anyone has ordered a reading yet, but I am doing live readings right now. And if you were signed up for my email list, you got the free 99. What is that? Oh, that's not cool. My fault. I'm looking at something else. Wait, oh no. Oh, that's what I meant to tell y'all. I have an ebook I put out. I'm so silly. You wanna know what? If you want to get the live reading, dope. If not, cop the ebook. This is how, once more, when you start working and then you're like, man, I forgot I already did that. I was working, right? Okay, sidebar before we get into the readings. Venus retrograde in Leo is about to pop up in like 3 weeks from now. Venus retrograde kind of sucks. It's not the worst if you are understanding what's going on, but there's a lot of feeling, there's a lot of heart, there's a lot of like, oh, what's going on? So I literally wrote ahead of time an ebook, 27 pages on Venus through astrology, and I even explained this upcoming Venus retrograde and how that's going to play a role. It's going to be in Leo, right? People are going to be having to readdress exactly how they feel. They're going to have to readdress exactly what's going on the internals, right? Woo! And so because of that, I was like, let's put this ebook together. It talks about love. It talks about romance. It talks about friendship. It talks about all the stuff that most people want, or the things that they like, because Venus is literally, hey, what do you like? Oh, these are the things that you like. Oh, you're talking to some new person. Oh, you look at their chart. Oh, you don't know what's going on. Literally study their Venus, talk to them, ask them if it's true. This is like a really great tool and resource for y'all to like really work on the things that you enjoy, so you can communicate that better. Because if you know your Venus and you're like, man, I know exactly what I like, it's so much easier to start to bring in the things that you want. You know what I mean? Like, I have a Scorpio Venus. I only like people that go deep. I do like me some sultry people though. I ain't gonna lie. No, but honestly, for real though, it's like I like for people that have mystique, people that have something that's like going for them beyond what's in front. Oh, love it, right? You usually see me, I'm wearing like a lot of black, whatever the case is, right? But the idea is knowing the Venus and understanding that, and knowing, hey, the people that are going to enjoy me the most are people who are not afraid to look at the human psyche, to look at the real nature of things, and to look at what's really going on that level. And those are some of the closest people to me, right? You know what I mean? And that's just the case. So learning your Venus makes that so different. Oh, you got Venus in Scorpio too? Shout out I Am Talented, the fellow Scorpio Venus. definitely check out the Venus thing. And I also, if y'all don't want to do that, I have some older videos on Venus going through everything from like 2 years ago, but information's still there. If I could change some of the way I say things, I would have, but I can't, and I already said it. So listen to what I already said, because I was still making mad points, to be honest. But perfection is nature, but tis the course. Regardless, right? All right. I've talked a lot, done a lot of stuff. If any of y'all want to get that live stream reading, now is your time to head on over there. If not, prepare for the other good stuff. Then I'm finna go, to be honest with you.